Hello and welcome to my take on your Daily 5 for the 2nd of November. My name is Julius de Kempenaer and I'm presenting to you from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Today it is my turn again to host the show for you. I am a senior analyst here at StockCharts.com and the creator of relative rotation graphs. So no surprise that you will see a few of those RRGs in this show. You can find my contributions in the RRG blog on the site, as well as on StockCharts Television, where I host Sector Spotlight every Tuesday from 10:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern. If anything related to sector rotation and relative strength has your interest, please check out these resources, or even better, subscribe to them so you will get notified when new articles and episodes have been uploaded. For this episode of Your Daily 5, I want to take a better look and a deeper dive into the consumer discretionary sector. If we look at the rotation of the sector on the RRG for sectors, so the 11 S&P sectors, then we see that XLY really is showing one of the stronger tails that is powering into the leading quadrant. So that in itself makes it an interesting sector. Now, the next step for me is to move into the groups that make up that consumer discretionary sector. And the way you do that is you go to the dashboard and then to the sector summary page. And on the sector summary page, we click on the RRG icon. And that will bring up an RRG that shows you all the groups that are inside the consumer discretionary sector. And here it is benchmarked against the S&P 500. You can actually do that against you could do it against XLY if you want to, or even any other sector. So for this occasion, I leave it benchmarked against the S&P 500. So when we start to move talking about individual stocks, we'll also put them against the S&P 500. So we got apples and apples, and we can compare everything. Now, obviously, there's quite a few groups in this sector, and quite a few interesting tails. And the one that really starts out, obviously, is the one for U.S. automobiles. Now, I can hear you think, or I can see you think. I don't know how to say it when we're not together, but I hear a lot of people say, "Hey, well, that's all about Tesla," and to a degree, that's true. But I'd like to take a little bit of a peek under the hood and see whether that is really true, or maybe there is a few other stocks in that automobile sector that are worth our while next to Tesla or after Tesla, because Tesla obviously has already made a huge run, and you could argue that it's kind of dangerous to jump on that train because it has already left the station. But maybe there's a few trains behind Tesla that are following in its footsteps. So we're going to try to find that out. So that's one of the groups that I'm interested in. And the other one, and I thought that was really interesting to see, because this is automobiles, and the other group that caught my eye is auto parts. And if you look at the two tails, automobiles is obviously way up in the leading quadrant and powering ahead. And then you got parts following suit. And I thought that was an interesting thing to see, because obviously, you buy a new car, but after a while, that car is going to need new parts. So it sounds kind of logical that the parts are following the end product and the finished product. So we're going to look at a breakdown of those automobile parts as well. The next step is to look at an RRG that is made up of the individual stocks inside each of these groups. Now, here on the left-hand side, we have the RRG showing all the members of the automobiles group. These are all automobiles, not only large caps, so large, mid, and small, everything. And as you can see, Tesla is right here as obviously one of the leading stocks, but it's definitely not the only one. And there's definitely a few tails that are worth our attention that could follow the lead of Tesla. And the ones that I've picked out are Nikola Motors, NKLA, and Ford Motors, F. You see the rotations. Ford is already in the leading quadrant, nicely moving further ahead. And NKLA, Nikola, is strongly powering into the improving quadrant at good momentum and going further that way. Now, if I look at the individual charts, then that confirms what we actually see on the RRG. Because if you look at the chart of Ford, it's actually breaking to new highs. It did it last week and it's continuing this week. And also the raw relative strength is breaking to new highs. It's taking out that previous high, and obviously the RRG lines are following suit. So this is definitely a stock worth looking at. So it's not only Tesla that is doing really well in that sector. Ford, for one, is definitely an interesting stock at the moment with the break to new highs. If we look at Nikola Motors, NKLA, that's really interesting because this is a stock that came down from 95 all the way down to below 10, and it spent a few months forming that bottom. And actually I had to put this chart on a log scale so you can see how dramatic that decline is. And you see that we're now breaking out of that base pattern that you see here, and that's putting the raw relative strength line going higher, and it's pushing the RRG lines going higher, positioning it inside the improving quadrant here. If you look at it on a daily chart, it's even more nice because now yesterday we broke out of that base, and there's definitely a lot of upside for Nikola Corporation. So another car stock, automobile stock, and this is obviously also electrical transportation. It's a little bit broader than just cars, but definitely a good chart breaking from a base and worth a bit of our time. Now the other group was automobile parts, and here's the RRG showing the individual stocks making up the automobile parts group, and it's quite a long list, and I went through all the tails. I won't do it right now, but the ones that I picked and that are, in my view, quite interesting to take a better look at are LKQ, QS, and CPS. So LKQ Corp, QuantumScape, and Cooper Standard. By the way, what you will see here when you go over these tails, there's a lot of foreign stocks in there, and also in automobiles, ADRs that are quoted in US dollars. And I'll get into that in another show, maybe in Sector Spotlight, and talk about the problems, quote unquote, that you run into, or things that you need to be aware of when you look at the charts for foreign stocks quoted in US dollars. Anyway, that's not for now. The ones that I picked here, QS, CPS, and LKQ. And you see the tails all in, moving into that 0 to 90 degree heading. LKQ actually rotating back into leading, so that's already the second leg up. CPS and QS nicely inside the improving quadrant and moving towards leading. Now, if we start with LKQ, then you see that this is actually a stock that's already in an uptrend. It's already in a relative uptrend, and you've seen the rotations on the right-hand side here. Every time when the RS ratio remains above 100 and RS momentum drops and comes back, that's another rotation on the right-hand side going higher. And the break here to new highs is definitely putting new fuel into the tank of LKQ. So definitely an interesting auto parts stock to keep an eye on. The next one is QS, QuantumScape. That's a stock that's not that old. And here also, I had to go to a log chart to make it a little bit more visible. But what you can see here is a very nice base that is building. And we're breaking above its previous high here. That was 28.74. We're now at 29.77. And here also, if you put that on a daily chart, you see a nice break out of that base. And then we finish it off with CPS. Here also had to go to a log chart, definitely an interesting one, and look at how nicely that old resistance level worked as support. Took us a couple of weeks, and we're now coming off that support and moving higher. So here you have a few stocks in automobiles and automobile parts that are worth our interest. And this concludes your Daily 5 for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again at a new episode of Your Daily 5 in the future.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.